All right, so far we have completed step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we are at the Active Directory pre-installation. So the first thing we need to do in all those 3 machines, server A, D, and PC-A, we need to change the computer name, we need to change the date and time, and we need to configure the TCP IP settings according to the lab requirements. So we are here at server A. I'm going to click on server A over here. You can see it has a default name and it's a member of a work group. So we need to change that. I'm going to go first to the IP address because it will restart. Right click here, go to open sharing, change adaptive settings, right click, go to properties, go to IPv4. I would not be using IPv6, so I'll uncheck it. IPv4, go to property and assign it a static IP address. If you remember, the requirement said 10.0.0.10. Though that's, I think, let me double check in our topology, it is .1. And the subnet mask, it was class C 255.255.255. I will do that. 255.255. All right, and the DNS, there is no gateway. We don't want it to go to internet for now. DNS, the primary DNS is itself. You can put 127.0.0.1, or you can put its own IP address, which is 10.10.0.0.1. It's pointing out to itself, because once we install the Active Directory, it'll become this domain controller, and this server become a domain controller. It will also install the DNS. I know there are certain practices right there that would say you need to first install the DNS before you install the Active Directory. Well, like I told in the beginning, I will simplify the entire process and make it as simple as it is. Once you know this, you're free to install it in any way you like. And trust me, I know there are more than one way to configure the server. Now we did that. We're going to come to the clock time right here. We're going to click on the time, change the time settings, and we're going to make sure that we are whatever zone you are. Boy, here we are in Eastern. Some will use Eastern, US and Canada. Hit OK. And guess what? All machines in the network have to be in the same zone. The good thing about the Active Directory that the domain controller will force the time zone settings. But I want to show you how we do it to simplify. I don't want you to run into process when you're trying to join the domain. So that's a good practice. Time is crucial, as you know, in computer technology. Now we're going to change the computer name. We're going to click here. We're going to hit change, and we're going to change this name to server A. As soon as I do that, the machine, it will restart. Okay. Hit OK. The machine restart. You hit OK. We hit close and restart the computer. All right, and it come back quickly. It doesn't take too long, so I don't have to pause the what do you call it? It's coming up. I will pause it as a matter of fact. We're back. We're gonna go and log in. Keyboard and press Alt Control Delete and password at 123 for now. Okay. And we will log in back to our server. Server manager will start automatically. It always starts and it takes its time. And you really want to give it time till it's finished. So we change the time, time zone. We configured the server name and we assign the IP addresses. Now the next thing they want you to do, server, they want you to install the Active Directory. The Active Directory does take time. So I will pause it once I start. To do that, you want to go into manage, add and remove, add roles and features. Add roles and features. We're going to hit next. We're going to hit next again. And you want to select the server. We only have one. That's the right server we have right there. We're going to hit next. And you choose what role you want to add. All right. In today, based on our lab assignment, they want us to install Active Directory service. We're going to check it again so you can see it. It's the second option. You check the box. You hit the add features, roles and features, and we're going to hit next a couple times. Okay, next again. We hit next, and the computer will restart once you finish that. I hit install. The installation will start, and I'll come back once it's finished. It's going to take a little time. Once the Active Directory role has been installed, you go all the way up to the main menu, and you should see a notifications right there. You click again. We're doing this on the server, on the server A, which is our domain controller. You click, and you're going to see that some further setting is required in order to finalize this process post deployment. If you want, we're going to click on promoting the server from a PC, all right, to a domain controller. In that process, you'll be asked to answer a couple of questions. First of all, add a domain controller to an existing domain. We don't have a domain. We don't have an existing domain. We don't have any existing domain or forest. So as a result, we're going to create our new forest. The name we're going to call it, all right, the domain name according to your lab, that said iClinic.local. Okay, iClinic.local. We did that. We do that local so we stay inside, because sometimes you may have an iClinic.com or something on the internet. So we know this is everything we're doing is locally only. We're gonna hit next. And by the way, although we give it this name, this has nothing to do with the internet. You can see right there the installation started. I will not explain everything because this is just a lab. There's a lot of process, but I will not explain them. I'm going to use the same password, although it's good practice to use different password. This password, you will use it to recover Active Directory in case something happened and you need to restore. All right, you will get this error anyway. This is what I said. DNS is the backbone of the Active Directory. If you don't have the DNS, the Active Directory, your Active Directory would not work. That's why sometimes some books and some publisher and some network admin may choose to install DNS first before installing the Active Directory. Okay, we hit next. It will generate NetBIOS name. Give it a little time. NetBIOS name is used, as it says it right here, is used to communicate. So your server, it's NetBIOS, to communicate with what we call them legacy operating systems. We don't have any right now anyway. We're going to hit next because you only have server 2012 is not a legacy operating system, and we have 10 is not legacy. And here, this is just requirements by the Active Directory where the logs going to be installed, and the database will be, and the sysvol and all the good stuff. You're going to do this in next chapters. We're going to keep this as it is. We're going to hit next. All right. Now it is finalized, and it was when asking you to see what's the changes that will take effect, and even to copy a script, view the script and copy it in case you want to use it in other installation in the future. This way you don't answer all this question that we did. We go ahead and hit next here. All right. And this process will take time depending on your resource. So you will be patient over here. It will really take time. And when your server restart, as you're going to see, it'll be much slower than before, because now your server is a domain controller, has extra program installed in it that requires RAM, hard drive space, and CPUs. And since we don't have a lot of it here, you're going to see that the server will be a little bit slow. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right now again, and then come back when the installation finished. All right, we're back. It took about 5 minutes, and it come back. I also, a lot of times when you're doing labs that are Active Directory related, the user tend to log in locally, and as a result, their lab may not work. They may not find users, they may not find work group, and so make it a common practice whenever you log in to a domain, either workstation or the server, always click in the arrow, go back, log in, choose other users, and log in like this: administrator, the username that you want to log in as, at iClinic.local, that's your domain, and then whatever password you have. This way you'll make sure you have logged in to the domain, not locally. all right? A lot of students run into a problem when they install the Active Directory, they log in locally using the local administrator, and they're asked to do some task that requires administrative privileges and the Active Directory, and it does not work for them because they log in locally. You can see clearly here that Active Directory is installed, DNS is up and is running. All right, so now our next step, if you remember, they want us to create users and group. I will not create all of them. I will create a group, and I will create one single user per each group. However, in your assignment, you're asked to create 3 per each group. we're going to go into Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. All right. And now you have the iClinic. All right. You're going to see the users right here. You can click on the users. You can click on the groups too, or you can just come anywhere here. Right click here, go to New, and you can choose a group or a user that you want. We can start by group. The group that you're asked to create are security group. You could see below there that Windows Server support multiple type of of groups, but for now we just need security group. They want us, one group will be used, it's for doctors. We're gonna hit it's global and a security group. All right, we're gonna hit OK. Another group, all right, another group, new group will be used for nurses. All right, and finally another group that will be used for support, help desk or support. All right, that is done. Okay, next thing, they want you to create 3 users per each group. All right, so to make it easy, I'm just going to do for one. I'll go to doctors. So what do you want to do? I'm going to create one user, new user, as you can see right here, and I'll call this guy, let's call him Dr. Lee. Okay, I'm not sure if we can use the dot, but we're going to know in a second. And he's going to log in as Dr. Lee. Okay, and we hit next. Watch how Dr. Lee need to log in. Dr. Lee at iClinic.local. I hit next. Password, you can ask to change the password. By the way, I am just using generic passwords. All right, I don't want him to change the password, but you definitely can do that if you want to. That's okay. That's a good and common practice. You don't want to know your user's passwords. I hit next and finish. Now, how can we add Dr. Lee to the doctor groups? Here's how you do that. You do it for all the group. You can double click here, and you go into a member of, and as it logs, he's only member. Dr. Lee is only member for users, but we want him to be a member of the group. You can do it from here, or you can do it from the group. To do that, we're gonna hit add, and if you remember, we're gonna type dr. Hopefully, docs. Hopefully, we find the doctors. Here we go, the doctors group right there. We hit OK. And now he's a member of the main users and also for the doctor group. We're going to hit apply and hit OK. Now you're going to do the same thing to create two more doctor accounts and also the nurses and also the support. But I'm going to leave that up to you. Now you have the idea and you know how to do that. All right. Now we have done what need to be done on the server. On the server A is up and running. We're going to now need to go to the server A, to the server D, and do the same thing. So I'm going to minimize this. All right, and I'll go to server D. All right, and I'll try to bring server D. All right. When you get this, do not press spacebar. If you do that, you will reinstall Windows again. So if you get this, please do not press any key. Otherwise, you're going to stay on the loop of installing your server again and again. So I'm going to pause it and come. Oh, it's already here. All right. So I'm going to log into the server D. All right. Alt Control Delete. It's all in the top. And you can see I'm logging locally. Password at 123. Okay. All right. As soon as I log in, I'm going to end this video and I'll create another one. Now, my next step is adding what we call it, creating what we call a member server, and adding server D to the Active Directory, and create and add whatever roles and feature this server need.